She was standing under a tree in the square when suddenly a young man disguised as a homeless person touches her on her butt, and immediately she turns around and slaps him on the first one she sees, and without knowing who it is, hits precisely a policeman who was there too. He then asks her if she is crazy and that it was a disrespect to authority, and he already says that he has to arrest her, and he is already taking her to the car, and she asks for her bag, but the boy who was there says that takes her to the policeman while the girl asks him to release her. The boy takes her bag from the floor and opens it, taking out a paper and a key that were there, and meanwhile the policeman puts the girl in the car, and she says that it is not because he is a policeman that he can do whatever he wants. The policeman then says that she is forward and that he doesn't know what she is talking about. She then calls him a pervert, and he then says he would never do something like what she is saying. Meanwhile the boy is looking at the paper I take out of his bag, and then hands it to the policeman, and he thanks him. Girl then asks the police to look if there is a key inside the bag. He says that there is no key inside the bag, showing it to her, and then she says that the boy stole it and asks him to go after him, please. The policeman then calls him, but pretends not to hear and runs away, and the policeman backs him up while she is trapped inside the car. The policeman runs after the boy, asking him to wait, but the boy pretends not to hear and continues to run. The policeman it gets in the way and falls to the ground, and when you get up you can't see it anymore. The policeman continues to look for the boy, and at that moment he is behind a tree, takes a black bag and removes some clothes from inside and changes right there. He leaves his old shirt there and goes out disguising, and when he passes the policeman he bumps into him, taking the policeman's gun without him noticing. So he, to disguise himself, asks the policeman to watch where he is going, and the policeman then apologizes, and the boy says that everything is fine and wishes the policeman a great day, and he thanks him without knowing that he is the boy he is looking for. The boy then puts the gun away and moves on, and the policeman doesn't know where he went, because he thinks he has lost sight of him. The boy is then sitting on the curb, and suddenly a brunette girl arrives and throws him a sum and asks if he has what she asked for. But the boy then asks about the rest of the payment. She then says that she wants things first and that then he will have the rest of the deal. He then gets up and takes from his pocket the key and the paper that I took from the girl's purse moments before and gives it to her. She then takes another amount from her purse and hands it to him, thanking him for his service, and immediately leaves there. He then counts the money and tells her to have a nice day, takes a phone out of his pocket and looks at the location where the girl is going, and so follows her. The policeman goes back to his car and is releasing the girl, who calls him incompetent and outraged that he let the boy escape. He then says that she can't talk to him like that and that she has to respect him. She then says he let the boy escape. So the brunette girl, who was with the boy who stole her, arrives at that moment, and she then asks what she is doing there. She says that she was passing by and that she saw the whole scene and then wanted to know what was happening there with her. And she then asks to release her and tells her sister never to put her mother in the middle of that again, and kissing her says goodbye in hopes that soon they will meet again, and tells the police officer that he can arrest her, your sister, because she is crazy. Leaves. The girl goes out after her, but the policeman holds her and asks for calm and gives her her bag. He then wants to know why she treats her sister that way. She then says that he doesn't know her and that it's better not to get in the way. He asks her for forgiveness, and when she goes to get her car key she realizes it's not in her purse. He then asks her if she wants him to take her somewhere. She says yes and gets in the car, and he then asks her if she wants him to take her somewhere. She says yes and gets in the car and tells him to get in the car. Meanwhile, the guy who took her bag is at the address she took off the paper before, only the gate is locked and he waits there hidden. When he realizes that the girl he gave the key to is coming, he hides behind a car that is nearby. She arrives and opens the gate and goes inside. The other girl arrives and tells the police that there is the house of her sister, and the policeman then asks her why she doesn't make peace with her sister since she's there. She then gets out of the car and tells him that he better leave. She opens the gate and is entering when the boy who was hiding there also enters. The policeman who was there watching then decides to enter too. Inside the house, the girl starts to move things when the other one enters and asks her what she is doing there. And the other then asks if she followed her. While the two are discussing, the boy comes in and the girl comes in and asks who is he. He then says he will help her to remember, takes a cap and puts it on her head, and then she remembers that he was the one who stole her purse and then asks her sister if she knows him. She lied, saying she doesn't know who he is. The boy then tells them to shut up and they tell them to sit down, and they go. The brunette soon sits down, but the other says she won't sit down, so he takes a gun and points it at her. He then says he just wants to know where is the money. The brunette then asks him who said there is money there, and the other says she doesn't know about any money. At this, the policeman is entering the house and listens to the discussion and continues in silence. While the girl makes a gesture with her mouth that he is not supposed to approach him, he arrives behind the boy, but he cannot defend himself and receives a blow to the head, and the two stand there trembling in fear. The boy then asks them if they really thought that little policewoman would stop him from doing something, so the girl tells him that there is no money there. The other then says that if he thinks there is money there, then look for it. He then goes to look for it, and at that moment the policeman gets up and takes a squeegee that is nearby, and following the boy waits for him behind a wall. When he passes, the policeman moves, changing his position. The boy then takes a backpack and starts to open and goes back towards the girls, wanting to know about the money. So he says that the money was to be there in that backpack, but as they don't want to cooperate, he takes the gun, and when he is going to point it at it, the policeman hits him on the head with that squeegee handle and he falls to the ground. The policeman then takes the gun and searches him to make sure he doesn't have any more guns with him, and tells the girls that they should take the opportunity and make peace with each other. But the two start talking at the same time that they are not going to make up, and then he gives a shout and they ask them to stop that discussion, and then tells them that they are going to make up. Yes. He then says that he had a sister who unfortunately lost her, because of silly things that not even they are doing, and that she went without them talking, and that she stayed in the ICU, and that he is seeing the two of them there, and that it is time for the two come together. And he goes on to say that it was fate that drew that moment for them, and that they don't miss the chance they are having, and that they make peace, please. They then get up and start talking, and the brunette asks forgiveness for the cruelty she had with the other. The other says she loves her too much, and that now that her mother is gone they have to stay together. The brunette then says that her mother left them an inheritance, so she goes to the backpack that was on the counter and comes back showing all the money in the backpack, and that they are dollars and that they are rich. The other then asks when she was going to tell her about this money. She then takes a bag and says that they are diamonds, and says that she hadn't told because she wanted everything for her, because she had a lot of hurt. Only now she knows that the love will prevail forever with them, and that his mistake was not wanting to share everything with her, and that they are sisters, and that their parents fought to leave everything to them. At that moment the boy starts to move, but the policeman gives him prison, holding him, and the two hug each other happily.